heart and she never know I love her to skin and bones are thrown, sticks and stones just to let you validate your mercy.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Loaded HQ, the home of away days, and we are back again. It feels like an age since we played Premier League football, but it is coming ever closer, and what a game it is, and we're going to get right into that tonight with our guests. But just before we get into that, there's been movement. We asked for a striker. We demanded one before this game on Saturday. And it looks like the owners have delivered on our demands. And it looks like, fingers crossed, that we could have a new striker in on Saturday. And his name is Chris Woods. Now, not confirmed yet, although a fantastic mock-up by the Newcastle fans as they on social media, as they always do. But Chris Woods is likely to complete his £25 million move to Newcastle United from Burnley, hopefully tonight, but looking more likely sort of tomorrow morning, as the Kieran Trippier deal was done in the morning also last week. So really excited about that move. We will definitely get into that in a little bit more detail tomorrow when we are back on the Fully Loaded Transfer Show with Jordan Cronin at 8 o'clock. We'll be back talking all things transfers and going into detail on Chris Woods and maybe one or two others as well. But as I say, we've got a fantastic show ahead. And you know what? I'm delighted to welcome these guys back because we had a fantastic chat last time. Great hospitality. They looked after us when we went to the away game down at the Hawthorns. And it's a pleasure to welcome back Justin and Lord Carlos, should we call him, from the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes podcast. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Don't call him Lord Carlos.
Yeah.
You're not calling him Lord Carlos.
Call me Lord Carlos, it's true.
I've got to pick you up on something. You didn't come to the Hawthorns. You came to Vicarage Road, mate.
Yeah, Vicarage Road. Yeah.
I apologise.
Yeah.
I apologise. Vicarage Road. But look, you guys really looked after us when we came down to you. Took us to the local, walked us round to the ground. Fantastic hospitality from you guys. Really appreciate it. And yeah.
We'll call it even if you give us 3 points on Saturday.
There you go.
There you go.
No chance. No chance, Carlos. But look, welcome, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back again to away days. First and foremost, I just want to sort of ask you, obviously, we were in very different places the last time we met. Like, how are you assessing your season as it is at this moment in time?
Do you want to go first, Carl?
No, please. I insist.
We did a mid-season podcast last week, and we kind of assessed ourselves on the old school grading system in terms of exams. And we gave ourselves a D, must try harder, because we're languishing, we're not winning games, we're not keeping clean sheets, we're poor. So, yeah, I mean, if we're going to give ourselves a grade, D seems to be the average grade that the fans that we spoke to gave. So it's been very disappointing, mate. Very disappointing.
Carlos, what are your thoughts?
What he said, yeah, exactly the same. It's not good, mate. I mean, we are currently outside the relegation zone more by good luck than good judgment. with the games that have been postponed and so forth. But yeah, it's been bitterly disappointing, to be fair, since we last spoke. I mean, I think, honestly and truthfully, since that game, really, we've kind of been, up and down all over the place. And we were talking about that game the other day. I mean, that could have gone either way at one point. You guys were on top, then it was us. It was just a very, very strange one. But yeah, overall, very poor. And we're really looking at massive 3 games for Watford coming up.
It is obviously it starts with the St James's Park, but what are your next 2 games after that?
So we got Burnley midweek after that, who have just it look like they're going to lose. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm baffled by that. And then we got Norwich back at Vicarage Road. So,
wow!
Talk about 18 points.
Really,
they're all 6-pointers.
It really is. I didn't realise it was literally all the teams around you that you've got coming up. So that that next couple of weeks is a season definer, effectively, isn't it? Because if you don't get enough points after that period of time, and you're still right in amongst it, it can really sort of turn things on its head. And look, we're in a similar position because we've got yourselves on Saturday, and then we go to Leeds. Who are not right in the mix of things, but they're not far away. So again, it's a big game for us. And as we've already sort of, I'm sure we'll get into it, is that a win for us on Saturday takes us out of the bottom 3 for the first time this season, if I'm right in thinking. So it's a massive game. But look. Just before we get into the game and we get into the kind of crux of things, because I've got a number of questions I want to ask you, and I talked to you about 1 or 2 of them before we came on air. But look, I have to start through gritted teeth on both of our FA Cup exits at the weekend. Look, I know our FA Cup weekend was an embarrassment. Obviously, we lost 1-0 to Cambridge. We battered them for long periods, but we just couldn't score. We just had no conviction or quality in front of goal, and it told. And they ended up picking us off with a goal that won the game from Joelinton side. So it was a real embarrassing performance, and a slight dent in what's been a real positive sort of 12 weeks. At Newcastle United, regardless of what's been happening on the pitch and results. But from your perspective, you're at the King Power, not just down the road from me, my neck of the woods where I live. You obviously lost to them and went out 4-1, if I'm right in thinking. Just talk to us about that game and how that sort of came about.
To be honest, quite expected that we were going to go out with the pick of players that we've had. There was a lot of youngsters in that side. I think most Watford supporters before the game kind of knew we were going to go out, at some point. And there was periods of the game that we were positive going forward and so forth. But it's the same old story for us this season. We just could not defend to save our lives, and Leicester tore us apart in the end. But we're not bothered. The focus was purely on Saturday for us, and then in the next 3 games. The FA Cup was really just the fact that we just turned up to play a game.
No, see, I was thinking you guys might have had a chance, because Leicester have had so many injuries at the moment. They've got a lot of players out. I think Vardy's out for the next 8 weeks. Daka, I think, was injured. Iniacho's at the African Cup of Nations. So I thought you might have had a real chance. So I was a little bit surprised when I saw the result. But I suppose we do have to remember that Leicester have some very, very talented players. They can score goals from all over the place. So you guys expecting a loss is probably not wrong in that respect, and you're probably quite spot on. But look, how do you think that fares? Both of us losing the FA Cup. Does it give any one of us the advantage going into Saturday, or are we going in exactly the same way?
I don't think there's any advantage anywhere on Saturday. We haven't kept a clean sheet all season is the biggest issue. And we actually said that to you last time, I think. I think last time we said to you, we haven't kept a clean sheet yet. And it was only the end of September. when we last met. So, you know, unless something drastic has improved in the defence this week, then I can't see us keeping a clean sheet again. We're just a very strange team. We you know, under Ranieri, we've lost something like 9 games, but the games that we've won convincingly. It's very hard to call, but I don't know. I'd like to think that we've now turned a corner with these new signings and we're going to have a massive improvement, but I really, really don't know. I really don't know. I think you guys are probably... I'd be more confident of a win if I was a Newcastle fan and a Watford fan, but I would have said that when we played Everton away. I would have thought Everton would have beaten us, and I would have said that when we played United at home. And we beat them fairly convincingly so. I don't know. What do you think, Carl?
I think Newcastle at home is an advantage in itself. It's one of the hardest places in the country to go and play football when it's going. Do I think that out of the 2 results in the FA Cup final, which one probably hurt more? I think from a confidence point of view, Newcastle will be suffering a lot more than Watford will. But you know, I'm sure it's going to be it's a different game. It's a cup final, this game that we're coming into, and it honestly and truthfully, it is literally whatever team settles the quickest and you know gets. I think the midfield battle's crucial on Saturday, and I think whoever controls that will probably go on to win the game. I expect it to be a tight game, but yeah, honestly, it's so hard to go. I mean, nervous is not the word. I mean, I'm generally, if we lose Saturday, I'll be devastated. If we win, my God, I shall be happy. But I, as Justin just said, we are so up and down. We are so, you know, I wouldn't put money on Watford because you just it depends who turns up. If Watford that went to Everton turn up, Newcastle will bang in trouble. You know, if we press and we push, but if we sit back like we did, you know, quite a few games, then Newcastle will come onto us. And unfortunately, as we've just said, we don't keep clean sheets. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
It really, really is. And interestingly, you talked about the midfield sort of battle and where it could potentially the game could be won. But look, Magmark, an avid viewer of the show, is tweeted it, not tweeted in, he's messaged in and said, Chris Woods has passed his medical from Sky Sports News. They've just confirmed it. So he is likely to be confirmed as a Newcastle player either tonight or early morning tomorrow. You know, you've talked about already the fact that you guys haven't kept a clean sheet. Do you think he's a player that could really trouble you on Saturday? I mean, I don't know your centre back pairing off the top of my head, so I don't know. You know, are they the type of physical centre backs? Yeah,
to be honest, I don't think we know our centre back.
We won't know because we've just signed. We've virtually just signed a complete new defence. So
yeah, William Troost-Ekong is in the African Cup of Nations.
Okay,
which is good news for us.
I know he's been
dreadful.
Though. No, but he's been brilliant at AFCON. He's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, put a Nigeria shirt on him. He's brilliant. Put a yellow shirt on him. He's dreadful. But
I can't even begin to think he's going to be in the defence. I don't know. I would imagine Cathcart or Sierralta, but
yeah, I mean, just going on to that transfer, and it's really interesting. I'll put it out there, and I'll be interested in the comments. We're talking about Newcastle United now, who are, whatever way you look at this, they're the richest club in the world. Yeah. You signing Chris Woods from Burnley, and I'll come on to that part in a second because I really don't understand Burnley in this. I don't know. I don't know what you guys as fans are expecting from Chris Wood, because quite honestly, I've watched Chris Woods for a lot of his career, and he is, you know, he is a one-dimensional player for me. This is my opinion, and he's a big lump. He's physical from set pieces. God, he's a nightmare. But do I worry about him signing? I don't. I generally don't worry about Chris Woods. I worry about St. Maximin. I worry about Trippier and Trippier's delivery forwards. Yeah, put those two together. I get it, but I don't know. I think it's a strange signing. It shouts at me that I know you need a striker, because clearly Callum Wilson's is out by the looks of it, probably for the season, is it? Possibly.
No, he's out for 8 weeks. So
8 weeks.
so it's looking at sort of around March time. He's going to be back fit. There
I
was
just-
a worry that he could miss the season, but
yeah, I don't know. I just listen. I think he'll bring something different because of his physicality. But you've almost got to play to Chris Woods' strengths, which I don't think is necessarily Newcastle's strengths currently in the system that they're trying to play. Because if you're trying to play football, I don't know. I just see Chris Woods as a lump it in the box and he gets a header. That's how I see him.
It's an interesting one, and I have to be honest. On social media, it's been a massive debate with regards to Chris Wood and his signing. However, surprisingly, it's probably been about 75% in the positive. In that they're happy that he's come in. I think the majority of the reasons is because it was very obvious we needed a striker. I mean, we put in 38 crosses, like decent, good crosses, on Saturday against Cambridge, but we had no striker. We literally didn't have a striker in the squad that could get on the end of things. Someone like Chris Woods probably would have got a hat-trick in that game. He would have mopped up, and yes, it's only Cambridge, but we've signed a right wing back or a right back in Kieran Trippier to get forward and get balls into the box. We've got John Joe Shelby that can whip balls in. We've even got, although I question his position in the team and his defensive duties, we've got Matt Ritchie, who's also a very good delivery of the ball. So we've got players there that are capable. We've not got anyone to get on the end of it. You're right in thinking that he's a big physical guy. He doesn't really offer that run in and behind or anything of a real sort of fast-paced striker. But I honestly see the evolution in Eddie Howe in what he's doing. I think that what he's trying to do, he's trying to get a bit of everything. So he's got someone like Callum Wilson that can do pretty much everything. He's really good at holding the ball up. He can run into the channels. He can run in and behind and cause problems. He can link the play. He wants a bit of everything. So he wants someone like Chris Woods that may not start once Callum Wilson's fit, but may come on and have a real impact on the game later on. We're also looking at another striker as well, Hugo Ekitike from Rennes in France. Young up-and-coming talent, 19 years old, looking at paying the best part of 27 million for him. He has got real talent that we will talk about on the transfer show tomorrow. And he's a big physical guy, but he's got that pace in him behind. He's got that real skill and quality on the ball. So he's trying to get a mold of everything. So he's got a little bit of everything to bring in certain games and in different situations. So I think that's why he's gone for someone like Chris Woods, because we haven't had that since Salomon Rondon left. And Salomon Rondon scored goals in Newcastle in this similar type of setup. So he's looking at, Chris Woods, 30 years old, he's still got a few years left in the Premier League. His goal scoring record's not bad either. Other than this season, it's not been great, but Burnley haven't been great.
That's what just to cover. I don't understand Burnley in this scenario. I don't understand why you would sell in Burnley's mould, Sean Dyche, who we know very well, Justin. In his mould, it is that type of player. Chris Wood, Burnley, they walk hand in hand with each other. But to go and sell Chris Woods for, is it 25 million?
25 million, and
it's a big money.
It was his release clause. It was the only. I think it was.
So they've met that, right? So I don't know. That's one of your main rivals. In the grand scheme of things of where they are in the division and so forth. Burnley supporters must be prepped for the Championship now. I gotta be honest.
Well, we've had the Burnley lads on the show earlier on, just before Christmas, when they came to St James's Park, and I've been chatting to a few of them since, and the Burnley fans are like they're like saying, we're going down, because in their minds they've got 25 million, great, but they don't feel
who are they going to bring in for that? Yeah,
who they feel like they can't attract a player that's going to come in and do what he does in time. Firstly, for the end of the window, and because of the predicament that they're in as well. Like we fortunately have the finances and the kind of the forward vision of where we see ourselves in a few years' time to attract certain players to come to us, like Kieran Trippier, for example. So we could still pull off a type of a signing like that in the window, whereas they have got the money, but, you know, is that going to get swallowed up by the club because they need the money still, even though they had new owners? It's a really difficult situation. But Justin, what are your thoughts on this?
On Chris Wood?
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, I don't know an awful lot about Chris Wood, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, it does seem weird that a potential, a team in and around you would sell a player of that caliber to a team in and around you. It'd be like us offering Dennis to Norwich or something. It'd be sort of like, but we need him, don't we? So yeah, I to be honest, I don't really know if that's going to be good for you or work out for you or whatever. I just hope we can keep him quiet on Saturday if he starts. That's my biggest concern in all of this.
Just so you know, he's got an excellent goal scoring record against Watford.
Has he?
Wow.
Excellent goal scoring.
Who hasn't?
Well, this is true. This is true. Yeah, this is true. Most of the Premier League has an excellent
Premier League
goal scoring.
strikers have got an excellent scoring record against Watford at the moment.
He's a menace. I think that's the best way to describe him. He is a menace. He's a big, horrible, physical guy. And you know, that will generate chances for you. Simple as.
Yeah,
you're right. It'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on, as well as, like you said, the midfield battle. You know, we'll talk on that briefly now, because obviously we've had a huge resurgence in this man. Joelinton on the right hand side, not Callum Wilson for a change. It's Joelinton that's getting the rave reviews at the moment, and rightly so, because he's been moved into a midfield position, and he's effectively been playing as a centre midfielder, and he's gone really started to turn it on. I think every game under Eddie Howe, he's been putting in fantastic performances, and really kind of been that solid rock in the middle of midfield to win the ball back, to hold off play, to link the play, to get the ball forward. He's got plenty of running in him. And, you know, that will be an interesting battle, because obviously we've got an ex-Newcastle player coming back in Moussa Sissoko. So that will be a really interesting one as well. So what are your thoughts on that sort of battle, and have you seen much of Joelinton since Eddie Howe's come in?
I watched the Man United game, and I was really impressed with him. I think he got man of the match, actually. I could be wrong.
He did. Right.
But yeah, I was really impressed with him. Quite surprised, because I always assumed he was a striker, and that's whenever I've kind of known him. But yeah, I think he done really well against Man United. I haven't seen a huge amount of him. Not going to lie, he is in my dream team. Which unfortunately I've got a decision to make before the weekend. But yeah, the battle between Musso and him, yeah, it's massive. I think Justin will probably follow this up, but I think Moussa Sissoko has probably been one of our best players this season, in the sense of the business that we've done, and what he's brought to that midfield. I think the key element for Watford going into this game is who partners him, who is with him on the day, and that's really, dare I say it, shit or bust for Watford, because we've got a couple of midfielders lurking around the squad that just aren't good enough for the Premier League, and it's been a mistake, you know, from bringing them into the club. We've got a guy at Louza, who's a Moroccan international, so he's out. But he again really come on leaps and bounds. So, you know, we're looking at people like Tom Cleverley, you know, to sit in there. We've also got whose name escapes me, actually. There's a new chap we've just signed from Belgium. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. From Belgium, who again, big stocky centre midfielder. We had a player called Etibo, who is on loan from Stoke, who's
been out for ages.
Doesn't look like he's going to come back anytime soon. So he's basically a replacement for him. So, you know,
Ozan Tufan, who I don't think has lit up the fans at all this season in the midfield at all.
Massive disappointment.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting who he actually puts in the middle there with him. You would think probably Cleverly, if he's fit. But then he doesn't tend to play 90 minutes, does he, cleverly these days? He's sort of a sub, or
Yeah, I'd rather start with him, though, I think, going into this game. I think because he gives that, when he came on against Tottenham, you could see straight away he was organising and getting people, about. And we were robbed in that Spurs game at the end. But honestly and truthfully, I think it was a similar situation when we played you last time. We had a load of players coming in that we didn't really know a great deal about. And obviously that game could have gone either way on the day. And it's a little bit of a similar situation that we find ourselves in again, just at a more crucial time of the season where both teams are desperate. I mean, desperate for just that kickstart. I think whoever gets that result will probably look at this game as a big turning point in their season.
Just reading your comment there about a release clause for Dennis. Keep your hands off.
50 million.
But it's Chris Collins who's put it in. How much is Dennis' release clause? I hear he has one, as does King. Is that true?
Don't know, but you're not having him. He's basically our player.
Yeah, I mean, the Dennis situation, as far as I know, there is some sort of clause in there, but I think the clause is ridiculous. But based on the goals that he scored, I think a club will pay it.
Wow.
Josh King, I'm not so sure about. I think, as far as I'm aware, Josh King's there's no release clause for Josh King, but I could be wrong. You don't know what goes on. But Dennis has already pretty much not said it, but he's using the club as a stepping stone, which is I've got no problem with. In the grand scheme of things, come here, score a load of goals, make us a load of money, and we'll go and bring in the next one. That's fine. I've got no issue with that. And if Newcastle want to pay 50, 60 million quid for him next season, that's fine. Yeah, exactly. That's no problem.
And you can have Sarr for 80, and then we'll be happy. We'll be able to go and buy a load of new players.
Interestingly, you said Sarr, because there was one that a question that I marked off earlier from Richard Stark, which says, "Can you ask the lads, does Sarr have a release clause?" So it's clear after Chris Woods, and Kieran Trippier, who both had release clauses, although we didn't trigger Trippier's release clause, that we're clearly looking at release clause players at the moment. And so
you will not be buying him in this window because he's knackered. He's not played a game since the 20th of November. So.
Yeah, Sarr's currently with the Senegal side trying to get fit in a bit of a bizarre twist to this whole Watford kidnap their player. But we'll come to that. Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute.
I think you know what, Carlos, you've segued nicely to our next point, because
it's like I'm a professional, isn't it? I'm really good.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like you're a professional.
We're just kind of just flowing like water at the moment. But you've segued nicely into the next section, because I wanted to ask you the question, okay? Because you've got a situation at Watford, and it's been talked about across the Premier League, that you've got
across Africa as well.
Across Africa too. So you've got Emmanuel Dennis, who's fit and available for Watford, who's not at the African Cup of Nations, although was selected for the tournament. But yet you've got Ismaila Sarr, who is currently injured and is supposedly going to be injured until the end of January, but is actually at the African Cup of Nations. It's a strange situation for us fans that are not fans of Watford, looking from the outside. But look, talk to us about this situation. Like, how has this even come about, and what's the situation at the moment?
Senegal, I think, didn't believe that Sarr was injured. We sent them MRI scans and doctor's notes and all sorts of other things saying, look, this guy hasn't played for us since November the 20th. He got injured in the game against Man United. He's not coming to play for you in this African Cup because he's not fit. So they then said, well, that's not good enough. We want our doctors to look at him, from what I can make out. And so he flew out to Senegal, and he's basically, they're saying that he might even play in the later stages, I think I saw today. But the Dennis thing is slightly different. I've heard mixed reports. I don't know the official line. I believe what happened was he'd played for Nigeria in the past. Please, I don't know if this is right or not, but this is what I've heard. And didn't really fit in or something with the manager. As I understand it, a new manager has come in and then asked him to join the squad after the deadline had passed. This is what I
Pretty much. He's a bit of a boy, is Dennis, and he's upset the previous manager. I hadn't been selected for a couple of years in the national team. At the point of the squad submission for the African Cup of Nations, Nigeria sacked their manager. They appointed a new manager who obviously looked at the selection, what was already kind of in progress, but it had passed the date of submission for Watford. And at the end of the day, Watford have, it's not a player. We've got to manage that situation. We haven't stopped anyone going. They submitted after a cut-off date. So if anyone's in the wrong, all these Nigerian fans that are on absolutely shredding us, let's to be relegated for the next 600 years and voodoo curses and oh my God. But the fact remains is he was out of the selection for so long. They only wanted him, or this new manager only wanted him, because out of all the selection that they had from the Nigerian strikers, he was top goal scorer. So of course they wanted him. But the fact remains, they tried to get him in after the cut-off date. So we haven't stopped anyone from going. It's just they haven't followed the process. That's not our fault. And the Senegal one is spot on. Senegal don't believe that Sarr is as badly in. He's one of their best players, apart from Mane. Again, from a national side, it's like Harry Kane if he was at Real Madrid or somewhere like that. Oh no, sorry, he's not fit. Well, can we have a look at him just to be sure? Just give us our, just so that we know everything's been done. And Watford have been very open and honest and said, look, okay, let him go. Let him go out there. Your doctors can see him. So again, there's nothing that we've stopped. We've just given him our medical advice that he's not fit, which he isn't. And he released a video today on Instagram where he's basically in a gym, doing stretches. So he's nowhere near a football. So, unless that tournament's going to last another 9 weeks, then I don't think you'll be seeing Sarr play for Senegal this year.
But just to finish on Dennis, I'm so glad he didn't go, because he's been the shining light. Yes. Him and Sissoko have been the shining light of our team for weeks. Although Dennis has had a slight knock a couple of games ago, didn't play in the FA Cup. But I'm so glad he didn't go, because I was very fretful that if he went, we would have lost a lot of our power going forward. So I mean, he's the guy at the moment. He's definitely the guy at Vicarage Road.
Bargain of the season. We paid
3 million quid.
3 million quid. Come on.
I mean, that's just nothing.
He's a super talent. I was actually, without being disrespectful, I was actually really surprised when he signed for Watford, because obviously you were newly promoted. I was assuming that Dennis was going to end up at an Arsenal or a Tottenham.
He will.
But like you've said, he's I think he's quite openly said, as you've mentioned, that he's looking to use sort of Watford as a bit of a stepping stone for that next club, and so many players do that.
Of course. Look at Richarlison, who we signed for, again, next to nothing. We went and sold him to Everton for 50 million, and I think at the time most Watford fans went,
I think we did, but I think there must have been some compensation for the whole Marco Silva thing in there somewhere, because no way was he worth 50 million quid, which he still isn't. I don't think. No. So that was a very strange transfer, that was. But Dennis will go eventually. We're not expecting him to hang around season after season and be, the next Troy Deeney. That's just not going to happen. But I'm so glad he's not with the Nigeria squad now, because he has been. It's a massive plus for us.
Okay. So obviously, because I put the question on there, Rich Story, one of the Loaded lads, part of the team, he's asked the question. He's obviously put, what are your thoughts on it? So you're obviously really glad in your thoughts that he stayed, and I can understand that, because you're in a relegation battle with ourselves. You need him. He's your top player.
I'd want him even if we were at the top. I wouldn't want him to go at all. Of course, he's that good,
But do you both think it's fair that he's not been allowed to go when been selected, and he wants to represent his country?
Got the thing in time, I would have said, if he wants to go, let him go. I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
Right.
personally, if they'd got the registration in time and he said, I want to go and play for Nigeria, I'd have thought, fair enough. I don't want you to go, but fair enough. But that isn't what happened.
Yeah, I at no point listen, and I've got contacts at the club, you know, and at no point has Watford, and just to clarify the word refusing, at no point have Watford refused Dennis as a player not to join the Nigerian side. It is simply that he was almost not an afterthought, but the submission period had gone through. Do you know what? On the grand scheme of things, if he jumped up and down, could Watford have let him go? Of course they could have. But our understanding is he isn't jumping up and down. You know, he's not refusing to now not play for us. I think that would have been a big key indicator if he'd come in and gone, right, okay, that's fine. If you're not going to let me go there, but I'm not playing for you while the competition's on. I think that's a different set of circumstances. But I think a lot of media hype's been blown at this as well. You know, the African Cup of Nations, whatever way you look at it, it's a poorly timed competition for any football club. Yeah. You know, it's such a badly timed occasion, you know, and I know there's other aspects to it, and the African you know, nations deserve the same respect as the European, the South Americans, whatever. But my opinion on it is change the bloody timing of it. And honestly, none of this would become an issue. You've got a period where you could squeeze it in between a World Cup and the European Championships with no effect on any domestic leagues. I mean, Jesus, it's not rocket science, is it? I mean, what? This is why we're having this conversation. This is why it's all been blown out of proportion, is because Watford have stood their ground and basically gone to the Nigerian national side or the Nigerian FA because you haven't put a registration in time. Well, unlucky. Sorry, he's our best player. Unless the player's kicking off and not willing to play for us, you know, and he's happy to be involved in a, you know, a relegation battle, then listen, I'm as happy as a pig in you know what.
Well, Ewan's TV.
Yes,
that's our mate Peter.
Yeah. How you doing, Peter? Hope you're well. He's messaged. Dennis had a conversation with the manager and asked if he would, 1, make the final squad, and 2, ensure we would play minutes. And he wasn't given those assurances, so he opted to stay in the UK.
Yeah, that's a valid point. He was part of a 25-man squad, so he wasn't in the final pick of that Nigerian side. Okay, so that's another. It's a huge point there, Peter. Yeah, absolutely. He was part of the provisional squad. He was given no assurances that he would go to the African Cup of Nations and play every game. So again, you know, yes.
It's a mix of everything, I think. And it's worked out that he's not going, but we have stirred the wrath of Nigeria. Every social media post that Watford FC puts up ends up with a string of curses against us and voodoo and hope you get relegated every year for 600 years and see you in the Championship next season. And it's all your fault for not letting Dennis go, and you're out of the FA Cup because you wouldn't let Dennis come, and all these other things that just get very wearing and boring very quickly. And it's also meant that there's no engagement really on the Watford social media at the moment because everyone's
silence, isn't it?
Because it's all just Nigerians angry.
Yeah.
It's I can understand it, but like I say, from the outside looking in, I think for a lot of Newcastle fans, we've got, you know, over 100 watching at the moment. I think we, from our point of view, wouldn't have known this type of information from yourself, Justin, Carlos, and obviously Peter as well. I think you kind of shed a little bit more light from the Watford perspective. So
I think if Dennis scores the winner on Saturday, I think we'll have a load of Geordies abusing the Watford Twitter page as well. But yeah, look, it's only good news for Watford. He's one of our best players. You know, he scores goals.
He's probably our
best player. And the fact that he'll probably start against Newcastle on Saturday in front of 50,000+ supporters, he'll thrive in that. He'll love that. You know, the guy scored two goals at the Bernabeu quite comfortably. You know, he's dangerous. He is dangerous. He's the one to watch if you want a player to, you know, keep away from your goal. It's definitely Dennis.
He does stuff that you just think, how much time is he giving himself here to do this stuff? He's just unbelievable to watch sometimes. He really is. He's just, honestly, I don't think I've seen a striker quite like him, really. He's very creative. He creates his own goals and things. He's just it's quite a joy to watch. I think you'll enjoy watching him play. You know what I mean?
I've seen it. I've seen a fair bit of him this season, having watched you, and he is a very, very talented player, and he is, in my opinion, he's perfect for the Premier League to show his capabilities. But Peter again has just said this will be the last AFCON Cup of Nations to be played in January.
Thank God.
So I think that's good news all round, particularly for the African players that represent their countries, as well as that. And Martin, again, another member of the Loaded team, another cracking show on Loaded HQ. Make sure you hit the likes and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So if you're one of those 120 that's currently watching the show and you haven't become a subscriber, subscribe. We have passed on Monday the 2,000 subscribers, and we are now fully focused on the target for 3,000 subscribers, and we'll just keep building and building. But the content will be coming your way because you all enjoy the content, and we've had so much positive feedback from all the Loaded subscribers about the type of shows we do, and how different our content is, and this is one example. The away days, it's a great example because we get to talk to the likes of Justin and Carlos from opposition fans and get the lowdown from their clubs, but also their opinions on Newcastle United. So absolutely spot on from that point of view. But I'm going to get to another question before we get to some stats and some other things to sort of thinking ahead to Saturday. Just one other little thing that I wanted to ask you about, because he hasn't played for a while and he's an important player for you, and it's Ben Foster. Ben Foster obviously has been out for a while, and I want you to shed a little bit of light on this, because I think it was a really unusual way in which he got injured to be out for you for a significant period of time. But my first question to you is he going to be back on Saturday?
No. Don't think so. I don't think he is. If you'd have said this when we last played you, I'd have said good, because I think Bachmann's possibly a better goalkeeper, but he certainly knocked that idea out of my mind over the past few matches. I'm polarised when it comes to Ben Foster. I've always liked him. He played for us a long, long time ago, 2005, 2007, I think he was with us, on loan from Man United. He was very young. Absolutely fantastic, absolutely wonderful goalkeeper. I think he got player of the season, or he certainly got in the 442 magazine goalkeeper of the season or something in the year we were in the Premiership under Boothroyd. Came back to us, solid goalkeeper, slightly unfocused with this whole cycling GK thing, which I know fans of other teams love, but Watford fans find very irritating. And when he kind of got drops last season and Bachmann came in, it was a bit of a breath of fresh air, because he'd been making some silly mistakes. And I absolutely loved Bachmann. Now I can't wait for him to return, because Bachmann just doesn't command his area. He's very nervous. He's not a great goalkeeper. It's been shown to be in the Premier League. So he won't be back Saturday, because as far as I know, I've seen pictures to see him sort of back in training, but I honestly don't think he's going to be back Saturday. Is he, Carl?
No. I generally don't know when Ben Foster will be back. The whole injury situation is a bit of a.
That's weird as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a myth or what. It kind of again started as a rumor that he was playing for #United, is it the YouTube team, and got injured as an outfield player. And got injured. I mean, if that's the case, then he, quite honestly, he is what he is. But yeah, not good. And like you say, it's not just the fact that he's a goalkeeper and a key part of that defence. It's what he brings. It's his experience. It's his ability to command his box, and all the whole package. And if you've got injured like that, he's a wally, an absolute wally. Honestly, I couldn't say if it's true or not. It's really been, the carpet's been lifted, and Watford have really swept that away under the rug, and don't want to comment on it. And it's all very internal, that one. Would it surprise me? No. Not one bit, because I think the YouTube side of Ben's life is now Ben's life. I think football takes very much a second, backseat in his life now. And as great content. If you're not a Watford supporter, Justin, do you watch it?
No, don't watch it. I've seen bits of it, but I find it very irritating.
Yeah. Do I watch it? Not a chance. I don't, because it irritates me, because at the end of the day, he's technically our number one, and he's prancing around on his bike and interviewing all these other goalkeepers. And
I'll tell you what was really bad was the Liverpool match, where allegedly he got tickets for some cage fighter, Paddy someone.
The Scouse lad.
Looks like something out the in-betweeners. Apparently he got him tickets in the home end, and this Paddy guy decided he was going to kick off, got thrown out of the ground, then decided to get thrown out of the home pub, and put it all over social media about, I'm getting thrown out of this pub. Yeah, because you're a Scouser in a Watford home pub. What do you expect? But allegedly those tickets came from Ben Foster.
And he called Foster out, didn't he? On
Paddy
yeah, it is.
And loaded like Crystal.
He looks like Chris Griffin out of Family Guy. And
Paddy
then,
that's it.
And then basically, he also decided to ask Salah for his shirt, didn't he? After the game, then he was putting on he uploaded the video from the game, going, "Oh, what a baller Salah is! What a legend!" and all this. And you're thinking, we just lost 5-0. Yeah, why are you calling Salah a legend? Yeah, he played well and he scored some worldly goals, but you're the goalkeeper that let him in. Let's not have this. And really, the fans turned on him. The video got taken down, didn't it? Due to technical issues.
Yeah.
That'll be the club's communication going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he lost a lot of face, and a lot of Watford fans were very, very angry about that for quite a long time as well. And he's had to save some face from that, because that backfired big time. So I believe he's retiring or going to America at the end of this season. And we've now got the Nigerian national goalkeeper who's currently with Nigeria in our squad. He's on loan somewhere in Holland, I think.
That'll cheer the Nigerians up, won't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. So, I think at the end of this season we'll be saying goodbye to Ben Foster. And I'm not massively unhappy about that, to be honest with you, although Daniel Backman at the moment worries me, and I'd rather Ben Foster was in goal. Very long answer to your very short question there, Pete.
No, it's absolutely fine, because I wanted to know the ins and outs on it, because it sounded like a really weird situation. And you know what? The long answer, it was definitely a weird situation.
Most things that happen at Watford are weird in some way. They're just never straightforward.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm glad that we're not the only ones that are a little bit weird, because we've had 14 years under Mike Ashley. Some of the decisions that were being made were the strangest we've ever heard. But Rich Story says again, Foster is like Paul Dummett for NUFC. Don't realise how good they are until they're injured. But
fair comment,
that definitely is a fair comment. Now, we're going to get down to the game, but before we get down to the game and what we think is going to happen and looking at some predictions, we always have to look at some stats. And there's only one way on Loaded Away Days that we look at some stats, and it's with this man here. And here we
Evening, lads. Evening, lads.
I've just gone deaf listening to that jingle.
What an entrance.
Well, his entrance is always a special one. But Keith, how are you, my friend?
I'm well, thank you, and congratulations on Loaded Mag and Loaded HQ hitting 2,000 stats. Well deserved, and you guys are going from strength to strength. You're knocking it out of the park. Well done.
No, I really appreciate it, and so do all the lads. We've got so much thank yous and well wishes from everybody that watches the shows. And like I say, we're approaching 130 that are watching right now. Massive thanks to everybody for their support, and I know all the lads. The lads are in the chat. Chris is saying loves this intro. You've got Daz, one of the loaded lads, Stato. You've got Jeff, who's a massive supporter of the show. Nice impression on the soundtrack. Fantastic support. But look, big game on Saturday, Keith. Throw some stats our way. What's it looking like in the build-up to this game?
Well, Newcastle versus Watford as a fixture is quite split in terms of stats. Quite even Stevens, really. Sort of like Newcastle have won 16, drawn 16, and sort of lost 16, which I found unbelievable, really. Although it has to be said, in recent years, Watford have been the superior sides when they've met. Newcastle have only won one of the last 11 in the all competitions against Watford. Going back to 2015, I think 2014. Newcastle's record at St James's since 1993. They've won 5, they've drawn 1, and they've lost 3 against Watford. Those 3 defeats have been fairly recent as well against Watford, as I've said, in the last 5 years. The last win for Newcastle against Watford was in November 2018 with Ayotte Perez getting the winner at St James's. I think we all remember it was the start of that celebration, when he started doing that. And the last win for Newcastle at Vicarage Road was back in the Championship season, 2009-10, with Colaccini and Carroll getting the goals in a 2-1 win. Chris Wood, I thought I'd bring this up as well. He's played Watford 15 times. He does have a couple of goals as well. I think it's 3 to 4 goals he's got against Watford. So that sort of ties in with his sort of like ratio of sort of 1 goal every 3 to 4 games.
Wow.
Eddie Howe. Yeah, on the first game on the opening day, this opening game, let's see how he does. I'm not sure what his record is in terms of debuts, but Eddie Howe, his managerial record against Watford, managed 18 games. He's won 3, drawn 10, and he's lost 5. So sort of a point-a-game ratio. Claudio Ranieri has a slightly better record against Newcastle. He's managed 11 games. He's won 7, he's drawn 2, and he's lost 2. So like an average of over 2.909 points a game. But it has to be said, I mean, this has surprised me. Watford, as we know, aren't in great form. Bottom of the form table, lost 6 of the last 6 games. And it seems a while ago since that thumping win against Man United at the end of November, the 4-1 win at Vicarage Road.
Wow. Some interesting stats there. Boys, what do you think?
About what I expected, to be honest. I know that we've been quite successful against you in recent times. There was a season where we beat you 3 times in the season. I'm thinking 18-19 season, home away at
final season,
I think. Yeah. And I've always held a little bit of hope when we play Newcastle. It's one of those games you think we should be, well, we could be okay here. Not should be. We could be okay here. But those statistics are all well and good, but there's whole new players playing now and fights for survival and all the rest of it you can throw into it.
Bearing in mind, Eddie Howe's a Watford boy, so he doesn't like beating Watford. He's from Watford. So
but he always managed to annoy us when we played Bournemouth.
I hated him at Bournemouth. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to sound horrible, guys, but I hope he continues that hate on Saturday. I really, really do.
Oh no, he will. Oh yeah, we've got
he will.
We've got a lot of time for old Eddie. Bless him.
I think Eddie needs to get that hate streak back in him. He needs to drop the nice guy image, doesn't he? Really, in his interviews.
I've got to be. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. I think, and this is. I briefly mentioned this. I don't know if it was last time we spoke to or another podcast, but for me, I think that job that Eddie's taken, and I know he had other offers, and he's looked at the big plan that Newcastle have, and Mike, of course you're going to say yes all the time, but I think I don't know if it's a bigger risk for him or a bigger risk for Newcastle, because if you look at his career, apart from the Bournemouth job that he did, which was, second to none where they were to where he put them, his managerial career isn't exactly full of, shining lights. I mean, his time at Burnley was horrendous. I mean, if you speak to any Burnley fans about Eddie Howe, I think he goes on top of the bonfire once a year, in an effigy of him. But I don't know. I think for Newcastle, is he the answer? I mean, here and now, yes. Is he going to probably keep you up? There's a really good chance, over the next couple of weeks you're going to see it. But I don't know. I'm surprised that he's got that job a little bit. Bearing in mind where, again, from an outsider looking in, I'm not involved with it day in, day out. What Newcastle look to achieve in the next couple of years, it just seems a bit of a shortfall, in terms of manager who they could have got, and they could have got virtually anyone, I think.
We're in a situation where we needed a manager that could coach these players to get through a really difficult period. We were literally on the floor when Steve Bruce was manager, and we needed someone to pick us up and to get us playing a certain style in a certain way as quickly as he possibly could, because we knew we had to get through to the January transfer window in order to really improve the squad. The whole defence needs a facelift, we knew we had to deal with what we had to deal with, and Eddie Howe, I think, was the man to do that. And although the results haven't gone our way, I think we can all see as fans that there's a different style of football that we're playing, a more attacking, more progressive football. And I think you guys will see that, because you when we came to Vicarage Road, make sure I get that right, that you saw a very different style of football that we played. I think you're going to see a different style of football on Saturday, the way in which we play. We are more attacking. We like to put the emphasis on the opposition. We do like more of the ball, whereas before we were very much standoff, counter-attack. We're not that type of team now, and that is Eddie Howe's blueprint. That's what he's created. So I think with important signings in important positions, I do believe that he'll get us playing, and I think this window is crucial to that. So that's just my opinion on that. But I want some predictions from you guys before you leave us. So I'm gonna go around the houses. So I'll start with Justin. So look, by 5 p.m. Saturday, what do you believe the score will be at St. James?
Well, you're going to score without doubt, because
everyone else has.
Cannot kick. Yeah, we just love letting teams. Yeah. I think we enjoy dragging balls out of our net a bit too much. So my honest opinion is it was a draw last time when you came to us. I think it'll be another draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2.
Oh, okay. So a score draw.
Well, I'm going to be a nervous bag of whatnots when I come out of that ground if it's a 2-2. Jesus Christ.
Okay, Carlos,
just to add to that, it'll be a very early penalty for you, which knocks our confidence enormously. And then we'll probably go 2-1 up, and then it'll be a last minute 2-2. That's my guess.
Oh, that's even worse.
Sorry, mate. That's what I think is going to happen.
That's even worse.
Carlos, what are you thinking?
My prediction, honestly and truthfully, I mean, without getting splinters and sitting on the fence, we have to win. For me, honestly, we've got to kickstart our season. It's got to start Saturday. I don't think a draw suits either club in its current situation, especially with the games that we've got coming up. I think somebody's got to go and win it. And I get, if you're gonna pin me to something, I would love and I would take a 2-1 with a last minute Dennis half volley from the edge of the box. Yeah, I'll give you specifics
for the spectacular.
Yeah.
Fair play. No, that's a fair point. Keith, come on, give the Newcastle fans in the chat some.
Look at your stats, Keith. Look at your stats.
Look at your stats. Think from the heart, mate. When you make this decision, use it from there. What are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking with my heart on the last show. Pete, against Cambridge, and I made the mistake of going to the match and sitting in the Gallagher on Saturday afternoon, and about certainly about an hour in, my head was like this against one of the barriers. I just couldn't believe it. And to be honest, after that show, I'm beginning to think, look, when are the club going to react and respond here as a team? Because really they've only done it once this season, and that was the 1-0 against Burnley. Anything like that, I would be over the moon with. I do think it'll take a bit of time. It always takes time for people to come in, and I think it's great that Newcastle have got Mark Wood through the door. But he's not going to hit a hat-trick on his home debut, is he? Or is that wishful thinking?
I hope not.
I don't want that. God.
Well, I believe he'll score on Saturday if he signed on time, which I believe he will.
That'll be the early penalty. That'll be the early penalty.
I'll take a 2-1. I'll take a 2-1 on Saturday because Watford haven't had a clean sheet. I was looking. Watford have
last all season. We're the only team in the Football League without a clean sheet.
Last season, I think, in the Championship, Watford got a clean sheet. So there's a chance for goals at least on Saturday.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna. But before you change your mind, Keith, I'm going to move on because I'm going to stick to that 2-1 to give us a little bit of positivity in the room that we're going to win. And I'm going to join you because I do believe we'll win. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be nervy. But I do think we'll win and we'll win 1-0. I think we'll get the result.
There's no way it'll be a 1-0. You look at how many 1-0s have been against us this season. Not a chance. It'll be 3-0, 4-0, or it'll be much.
You'll either smash us or it'll be tight as anything.
When was the last time, Mr. Keith? When was the last time we only let in one goal? I mean, that's got to be. I can't. That's probably against you.
Arsenal earlier this year, didn't you?
Okay,
Wasn't it Arsenal 1-0?
Bear in mind, we just got off the back of Spurs.
Yeah, but it wasn't Arsenal. Also, there was a goal disallowed, wasn't there, or something? And then there was a penalty that was. So that's I mean, to be fair, we pulled the ball out of the net 3 times that game, but it was only one that counted. So it's not going to be 1-0.
I think Newcastle though haven't really. I think only the Brentford game is the only game where they scored more than 2 goals in a game. So they don't score for fun.
Yeah, I think you just touched on it there a second, Keith. I think you were at that Cambridge game, so you saw and felt, and that's the biggest thing with St James's Park. If you feel that atmosphere change, and especially as an away fan, I know if we can get the Newcastle fans in a predicament in the sense of, oh shit, they're all over us here, and we can lower that, we're in for a chance. We've got a chance. It's very much key, turn that crowd as quickly as possible at St James's Park. And I don't know, it goes one or two ways for me. On the back of that Cambridge result, you guys, Newcastle, come out and they'll be up for it. They've got a point to prove. They'll be all over us. Or what I hope and pray, dear God, is that's really affected you, and confidence is low, and it's just not clicking on the day. That's all we as Watford fans going into this can hope for, that Newcastle aren't quite at the races, and we'll be all right. But if you're at it and you got a point to prove on the back of that last game, then it's a tough game. It's a really tough game.
And Watford have been capable of a couple of freak results. I touched on the Man United game, and that Everton game was one of the games of the season for me with the Josh King hat-trick. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolute madness that was. We were 2-1 down with 17 minutes to go or something stupid like that. And then we just whacked 4 goals in 17 minutes. I've never seen anything quite like it. It was absolutely unbelievable. That ain't going to happen again for 20 years, so don't worry about it happening Saturday.
I was just about to say you're talking it up like it could potentially happen, and I'm saying
no. Please don't get me wrong.
That type of performance cannot happen again.
It won't. It's definitely not going to happen.
We've got UK casuals first time watching tonight. Welcome, UK casuals. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, and come back because we've got plenty of more to discuss. We've got some interesting news. There is a Premier League game today, West Ham against Norwich, and West Ham have taken the lead.
Get in.
Good news for us, keeps them
Good
down
news
at
for
the
us,
bottom.
yeah.
So good news all around. Something we can
Sure.
universally be happy about.
Yeah.
For sure. So Gerald Bowen was the goal scorer. Chris H has said he's gone 2-0, Woods and ASM. The goal scorers, Adam McCarthy's gone 2-1. I'm assuming that's to Newcastle. I imagine it will be, but he's gone. It's going to be nervy towards the end, and I agree with him.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I agree with that.
Mad Mag Mark's gone 2-0 Newcastle, Woods and Joelinton, both headers. Very specific in terms of how he thinks the game's going to go. And Geordie Team for Life.
Dennis, goal.
Dennis doesn't get into his own box.
Not a chance.
He's on the wind-up, Geordie Team for Life.
Stop drinking, Geordie.
And Dennis, own goal. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. I know from what people are saying in the chat, and there's been lots of comments in there about how knowledgeable you guys are and how great it's been to talk to you about lots of different things. The African Cup of Nations, it's got a lot of talk as well as things that are going on at Watford and how you see the games going. So massive thanks to you guys. Massive respect. Good luck for the rest of the season after the game was Saturday.
Same to you.
Yeah, definitely. And look, guys,
I'm going to be in Sharks Bar before the game.
Okay.
Yeah, because I like the barmaids in there, so I'm going to be in there beforehand. Excellent place, by the way. What a place that is.
Well, guys in the chat, if you're going to the game on Saturday, you know where Carlos is going to be. As we always say, and we said to Cambridge fans last week, when the away fans come up to Newcastle in the city centre, make them feel welcome. I know they will, and they'll go and they'll look after you and make sure you have a fantastic day, apart from 3 till 5. But we'll leave it there for today. Thank you all in the chat. Absolutely amazing. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We do, and I'm just going to quickly remind you guys, have some shows coming up. So we have the Fully Loaded Transfer Show with Newcastle World journalist Jordan Cronin, who will be giving us the lowdown on all the latest news with regards to Newcastle United. Todd Cantwell isn't in the squad tonight for Norwich, even though Dean Smith said he would be. So is he linked again with Newcastle? Let's wait and see. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. On Friday, we have the Legends Night. So Gavin Peacock will be coming to join us and talk things. Newcastle United. Really pleased to have Gavin Peacock come and join us for that show. And there will be a live reaction to the game.
I might watch that. I might not.
Well, look, come and join us, Justin, if you feel like it. Depending on the result, but yeah, come and join us, and we can talk about that game a little bit more. And I've already mentioned it, but help us reach that 3K subscribers. We're already well on the way to heading towards the 3K after a fantastic Monday night where we hit the 2,000 subscribers. Keep supporting us, keep allowing us to provide the content. If you haven't become a member, you can. The details are here. This is where you join on our page. Lots of members already. Let's hit that 50 members mark as soon as possible. But you all take care. Fantastic to see you all. Fantastic to share away days with you. And as always, we do love playing away. Have a fantastic evening. Take care.
See you.